with Justice Scalia and Brian Garner, co-author of excellent book, Reading Law, The Interpretation of Legal Texts. Have you ever broken the law, Justice Scalia?
Have I ever broken the law?
Yeah.
I have exceeded the speed limit on occasion.
Never been caught?
Oh yes, I've gotten tickets, none recently.
That's it? That's the only criminal action in your life?
I'm pretty much a law-abiding sort.
I like the phrase "pretty much." It gives me somewhere to go.
I'm a law-abiding sort.
What is your guilty pleasure?
My guilty pleasure?
Yeah.
I don't have any guilty pleasure. How can it be pleasurable if it's guilty?
I've got lots of guilty pleasures.
No, you don't.
No, I do. Everyone does. Nothing you get up to that you probably wouldn't want to read about.
I think I shouldn't do? Smoking?
Now, you've been married for how long?
52 years.
An amazing marriage, 9 children.
Yes.
How many grandchildren now?
33.
Amazing. What has been the secret of such a long-standing marriage, do you think?
Maureen made it very clear early on that if we split up, I would get the children. We
said before the break that possibly she was a long-suffering wife. Did you mean that?
She has worked very hard. I have not gone after the dollar for most of my life, so we didn't have a lot of money, and she didn't have a lot of help at home, and raising that many kids without a nanny or without, for many years, even any people to help with the housework was hard. She worked very hard.
And I ask this of all my guests, and I don't see why you should get away with not answering it. How many times have you been properly in love in your life?
Properly in love? Oh, I think Maureen's it.
You struck gold.
Oh, yeah.
Will you ever retire?
Of course I'll retire. Certainly I'll retire when I think I'm not doing as good a job as I used to. That will make me feel very bad.
And as we sit here now, what would you say your greatest achievement has been as a Supreme Court Justice?
Wow. I think, despite the fact that not everybody agrees with it, I think the court pays more attention to text than it used to when I first came on the court, and I like to think that I've had something to do with that. I think that the court uses much less legislative history than it used to in the past. In the 80s, 2/3 of the opinion would be discussion of the debates on the floor and the committee reports, and that doesn't happen anymore. If you want to talk about individual...
I mean, on that point, on the legislative history point, again, critics would say to you, well, hang on a sec, because you're such a constitutionalist and always go back to the way they framed the Constitution and so on. They debated all that. I mean, that is, in its way, legislative history, isn't it?
What is?
The framing of the Constitution, the framing of amendments and so on. What's the difference, really?
I don't use the Madison's notes as authoritative on the meaning of the Constitution. I don't use that. I use the Federalist Papers, but not because they were, the writers of the Federalist Papers were present. One of them wasn't. John Jay was not present at the framing. I use them because they were intelligent people of the time, and therefore what they thought this language meant was likely what it meant.
Why do you have such faith in those politicians of that time? You know, I mean, these days, if the current crop of politicians created some new constitution, people wouldn't have the faith, the burning, unflinching faith that you do. Why are you so convinced that these guys, over 200 years ago, were so right?
You have to read the Federalist Papers to answer that question. I don't think anybody in the current Congress could write even one of those numbers. These men were very, very thoughtful. I truly believe that there are times in history when genius bursts forth at some part of the globe, like 2000 BC in Athens or Quinquecento Florence for art. And I think one of those places was 18th century America for political science. You know, when Madison said that he told the people assembled at the convention, "Gentlemen, we are engaged in the new science of government." Nobody had ever tried to design a government scientifically before. They were brilliant men, and
do you wish we had a few of them now?
I wish we had a few of them now, and I certainly do not favor tinkering with what they put together.
Justice Scalia, it's been fascinating.
Thank you. I enjoyed
Thank you very
talking
much for
with
your
you.
time.
Thank
Brian,
you.
congratulations. It's an amazing book. Anyone that has just listened to that will want to go and read it. It is a weighty tome. It's full of humour, as the interview has been, and I think it'll give people really a much better understanding of what you're about. And I think you've helped bring that out, Brian, and so I applaud you both. May you sell many books.
Thank you.
And continue to preside for a very long time.
Thank you,
It
sir.
will be a lot less colourful without you.